a SWOT analysis is part of what I do in the audit or assessment phase of my 4-part branding framework. A SWOT analysis is a very common tool that businesses and organizations use to self-reflect and self-assess. And it's a good idea for independent creatives, whether you're customer-based or client-based, to also do this type of analysis. Because if you know what your strengths are and your weaknesses, and this can relate to your creative strengths and weaknesses, but also definitely your managerial strengths and weaknesses that we covered early on in the course, you know where you need to improve, you know where you need to get help, and you know where you're strong already. And doing a SWOT analysis makes you aware of other things beyond just you and your own enterprise. And that's really important because you have to keep a weather eye on the market. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And therefore, you're looking at internal, you're looking at you and your day-to-day operations, as well as external factors that can impact. So the reason you want to do this is basically to plan, to set goals, to set objectives and benchmarks, to shift gears if you need to do what's best for your creative business. If you do this kind of analysis, you'll be more aware of your position in the marketplace and how you differ from your competition, and you can capitalize on that. So the strengths and weaknesses are internal. The opportunities and threats are external. So with the internal, you're looking at your competitive advantage. What are your resources that you already are aware of, that you already have and utilize? What is different about you that makes you unique? Being weird is power. Being weird is differentiation. Being weird helps you stand out. We have to understand how we're different. What resources do you have already? Looking at your existing target audience, your existing base, how can you utilize that to reach your goals? How can you utilize the people you're currently working with to help you achieve your goals? Can they refer? Can they recommend? Can you go to them for advice? Very often, in the past, I've done that with clients where they have a particular area of expertise that I am not well versed in, and I've asked for their advice. And conversely, they've done the same for me. There's been many conversations I've had where a client, even a former client, has just come back to me and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" So by looking at your internal factors, you can understand what's going to help you succeed and what you need to change. It also gives you a realistic picture of where you are and perhaps why you're not growing as quickly as you want to, or why you're not working with the types of clients or making the kind of money that you want to make yet. It basically keeps you grounded. It also makes you extremely aware of what others are doing in your field who are serving the same target base that you are, and how you can serve that target base better because you're more aware of what they need than your competition is. Now that you know your strengths, where do you need to improve? What do you need to learn? Where are you less capable than you should be? What are you doing that's not working? Are you distracted? Where are you wasting time? Where are you not moving forward? Are there limitations that are holding you back, even if they are self-limiting beliefs? Externally, what's going on in the marketplace? Should I add drone photography? Should I get a drone license and add drone photography? Is my competition doing drone photography? Well, I better go learn how to navigate a drone, and I better get my drone license from the FAA. So these are questions that you can ask yourself in terms of external opportunities. And look at your competition. Again, what are they doing better? Are there things going on in the marketplace that are going to hinder my growth or keep me from achieving my objectives? Is there a way around them? Are there government policies or events and things like that that are hindering me? How can I address those? So a SWOT analysis basically looks like this. Your strengths and weaknesses are internal. They're all about you. The opportunities and threats are external. As owners of creative businesses, we need to be aware of the internal as well as the external in order to make the right decisions. Here's a way that this can play out. I recently joined a professional association, and I joined it for the purpose of networking and new client development, new business development. The current president reached out to me and asked if I would join the board as their marketing director. This is an unpaid volunteer position. On a nonprofit organization, you have your executive officers and you have your directors. So I would be under the vice president, answering to the vice president of the organization in the area of marketing. I had to find out what the position was all about, what the role entailed, and what the responsibilities and expectations were in order to make the right decision for me. And so after finding out what the expectations were and my doing some calculations, I declined. And the reason I declined was I need to focus my time on my own business right now and not on serving on a board, showing up at every single meeting, and having to fulfill all the additional obligations beyond just the tasks and the responsibilities of the marketing director for the organization. And looking at everything involved, it would have probably taken between 8 and 10 hours a week for me to serve the organization in that capacity. So I said, I can't do that. If I didn't understand my strengths and weaknesses, I probably would have made a different decision, which would have obligated me to the service for the year, and that would hinder my own business objectives. Now, down the road, I would possibly consider that. I've been on boards before. I've been president of professional organizations in the past. It does take a lot of time. So based on that experience, I have the ability to do it. Do I have the time and the wherewithal and even the desire? Now, the external opportunity was, in my experience, when you work on a board, you get to know people really well, and people work with people they know, like, and trust. And so it could possibly have gotten me more referrals. But I had to weigh that in terms of time versus my own marketing and my own networking efforts with the members in the organization. But the threat to my own business and achieving my own objectives was greater than the opportunity that taking on that position presented. So this is why it's important to understand where you are, what you're doing, what your goals are, your objectives are, because you don't want to get sideswiped. Examples of strengths. Somebody's a good listener, they're very organized, they have a really good track record of assessing what their audience, what their customer base needs, and creating products that address those needs and thereby getting good sales, or they've got a really good track record of client success because of the work that they've done. Those are strengths. Weaknesses might be they might have a tendency to overschedule and be distracted. They might have trouble finding clients. Maybe one of the weaknesses is that they don't know SEO and they're a website designer. They don't know search engine optimization to even implement it well for their own business. Examples of opportunities would be new technology, like the photographer considering the drone. New markets opening up. How many people have jumped recently on the CBD market? That whole industry needs marketing and positioning. The ability to diversify income, the ability to create new product and sell things online rather than having to get shelf space in an overcrowded store. Opportunity to start and build a business is easier and cheaper than it's ever been. Those are your external opportunities. External threats would include things like a pandemic. You could look at Canva, the do-it-yourself platforms, or Fiverr, the cheap design platforms, or a crowded marketplace, or the fact that everybody is suddenly deciding to start their own business right now, it seems. Those are examples of threats. So what you want to do is you want to bolster where you're strong. You want to take advantage of the opportunities, but you want to at the same time reduce the areas where you're weak, and you want to mitigate the threats. So if you don't do this analysis, you can't do that. So I've talked a lot about value, the value that we bring to the world, that the world needs the creative work that we do. Our clients need us, our customers need us.